Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 2 of Mastering Java Programming. Today we are going to be covering examining a simple Java program. What that means is we're just going to have an overview of Eclipse and what the functions of Eclipse and how it works, and then we are going to write a very simple Java program and examine it so you can understand how it works and what happens behind the scenes. So the first thing you want to do is go to File, click on New, Java Project. Now you can name it anything you want. So we can call it Examining a New Java Project. Let's call it that. Then hit Finish, right click on it, click New, and click on Class. If you remember, the class file is also known as bytecode. It's machine readable, and the class file, it runs on a virtual machine. So pretty much the class file is what your computer understands and what it needs to run the program. So now the class file, you can call it anything you want, but you can't use spaces because Java is really case sensitive and space sensitive. So I recommend not using spaces unless you have to. So we can call it Java, Java underscore project. Okay, good. Now click on finish. If you see here, I have public static void main. That's my main method. I have it so you don't have to type it all the time. Eclipse already does it for you. So always keep that checked and hit finish. Okay, your screen should look a little something like this. You might have your tasks bar over here, but I closed mine so I can have more space to work on. Then let's come up with a simple code. Let's say system.out. I'll explain all of this in a little while. Print line. I like to code. Okay. Now the first thing I would like to begin with is right here. Public class all the way to public static void main. Now you can just ignore this, that's comment. Now what this is your main method. What I mean by a main method is the start of your program. This public class and Java project here, this is the name of your program. Remember, we called it Java underscore project. The name of our Java project was examining a new Java project, but this is our main code, our main program, the class file, and this is the name, Java project. Then public class, public static void main string args. This is your main method. What this means is this tells your computer this is the start of my program. So if you don't have your main method, the computer won't know that you've begun writing your program. That's what this is. Public class, public static void main. It tells your computer this is the start of your program. Then you have the curly bracelets, open and close. Everything in between here, from here, these two, this is your code. If you go outside of here, you're gonna have a problem. It's gonna give you an error for many reasons. I mean, that's not a valid code, but if you go outside of here, the computer won't understand this as it's not part of your code anymore. Your code has to remain in between these two. This is the beginning of your code right here. Everything in here is your code, in here. So between this, the opening, and this, the close, your code has to go in here. It can't go outside. It can't go before or after. Now, the next thing I'd like to talk about is just briefly explaining this command right here. So what we have here is system.out.println. Now what this does is it tells the computer to print what's in here, in your parentheses, onto the console. So you have I like to code. Now what this basic command does is it tells the computer, think of this like a football. This is the football, and you pass it on to the print line, and the print line kicks it onto the console. So if we run this, we have I like to code, because this is passed on to this command, and this command executes it over here. So that's a very simple excuse me, that's a very simple code. we can go into, to elaborate, we have system here. This system, that's your computer system or your iPad or your phone. Remember, Java virtual machine runs on billions of devices. So this is your system dot out, output onto the console, and then print line prints. That's what it is. So to understand, I hope you understand what I just explained. Remember, system, your computer system, dot out, output to the console, print line, and print. Now, if you notice, if we try to run this, we have an error, and we go over here, it says syntax error, insert colon. You need your colon every time to terminate your line of code. If you don't have that, then Java won't know that you are done writing with this line of code. So if you move on to the next line and you begin, you'll have an error over here, because let's say let's try another one. System.out.print ln. I say I like to eat pie. You see, we have, okay, okay, we have another error because we're missing our colon, and Java won't know that we are done with that line of code. So you have to put your colon to terminate that line of code. Okay, and it ends it. Now the last thing I'd like to talk about is okay, let's take this. Don't worry about the data types yet, we haven't gotten to that. I'm just trying to give you a brief explanation about something. So let's say we have an integer and we call it Denver. Okay, now Denver is not the same as Denver, so you guys have to be real careful about that. Java always, it watches out for that. So you might have a really long line of code, but something is wrong. You have to make sure you're using the right case, because Java is very case sensitive. So that's all I wanted to cover today. It was just very brief. Just, you know, examining the basic things, what the functions do, and I hope that you understood it. So a brief overview: public class, public static void, main string, args. This right here, all of this is your main method. This tells your computer this is the beginning of our code. Java project, that's the name of your class, file. Then next thing we talked about, your code must be in between these two curly brackets. I really don't know what that's called, but let's call it that for now. Everything goes in between that. It can't go before, it can't go outside. Just to prove it to you guys, let's say I have my outside of here. I use my system.out.println and I say hello, and then I put my I have my colon here, so everything should be fine. But when I run it, there's an error. Alright, now what is it? It says it right here. You see, insert the curly braces to complete, because we've gone outside of our code. We can't go outside. So we went outside the curly brackets, I mean. So you have to pardon me, I'm still getting used to this. But yeah, so remember that everything goes in between these two things. Now the last thing we talked about was this system.out.println, computer system, output, and print. And then we talked about Java being case sensitive. Remember, JSON or Denver is not the same as Denver. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Well, thank you guys for watching my video, and I appreciate it, and I hope that we can move forward together and learn more about Java programming. Thank you.